Welcome to the Next Level podcast. This show is for leaders, builders, and bold thinkers who know they're meant for more and are finally ready to stop waiting and start moving. The Next Level Lab is where confidence meets clarity, where identity turns into action, and where bold decisions create real momentum. Here we'll talk about leadership, growth, energy, mindset, and what it actually takes to build a life and a business that feel aligned, powerful, and totally yours. You'll hear real conversations, real stories, real strategies. No fluff, no playing small, and no waiting until you feel ready. This podcast is your permission to lead louder, move faster, and own your next level. I'm your host, Callie Wiley. Let's freaking go. Welcome back to another episode of the Next Level Lab podcast. I've been MIA for the last couple of weeks, and you have to bear with me, and I appreciate all the patience. If you missed my announcement on social media, I announced that I've got a book coming out in October, and it's a unique situation because I'm giving credit to my ghostwriter. Her name is Kennedy, and I'm obsessed with her, and we started working on this project. I met her in December at a networking event. We started really diving into this process like January-ish, and have been absolutely nonstop since then. I mean, we laugh and call it boots on the ground journalism, but I mean, one-on-one meetings, FaceTimes, voice memos, traveled together, just doing all the things book related. And my very good friend Roman, who owns Grain and Grit Photography, was in town, or Grain and Grit Media, was in town last weekend doing all the media for it with us. And we had to make the announcement. And it's been crazy. It's been crazy since then, but it's going to be a really cool project. It's something totally unique. We are giving credit to the ghostwriter. I'm not going to keep her quiet. She's writing in my voice, writing my story, writing my book in my voice, but she's writing for me. If y'all follow me, I can barely write an Instagram caption. So I could never get this across the line without her. And I've got a graphics team that we're giving credit to. We're giving credit to Grain and Grit Media for all of their aspect in this and what is happening, right? And if anyone's out writing a book and they're not giving credit to whoever else is involved, I promise they're not doing it alone, because this has been the most in-depth, crazy process of my entire life. And that's why I've been MIA for the last couple of weeks. Getting this announcement done, getting some stuff done with the book has been absolutely insane. And I've just been behind on the podcast. But I think this is a perfect lead in to talking about the power of visualization, because 15 years ago, I started writing every day in a journal the statement, I wrote a book. I published a book. I wrote a book. I published a book. On my vision boards, I've had pictures that have created this image of having a book. And I'm not a writer, I'm a storyteller, I'm a speaker, I podcast, I do the speaking world. Writing is really challenging for me. And I never knew how I was gonna get this across the finish line, right? But I didn't ever give up on it. And there was this power of visualization. And you have to understand that your brain doesn't know the difference between real and vividly imagined, okay? Your brain doesn't know the difference between real and vividly imagined. So in my brain for the last 15 years, I've been able to visualize what this looks like. I've been able to visualize it. And so in my head, I knew that there was a book. I knew that we would go on book tour. I knew that we would create this massive movement to impact people and to meet people and to talk to people and learn their stories and learn their passions and learn their dreams. But I didn't know how I was going to get there. But this is where it gets really cool, because we get to understand over time that if we just keep this image in our head, you'll get there. You'll get there one day. And every single day, this has become this like mental rehearsal with intention. Every day for years, I've said, I'm going to have this book. I'm going to go on tour with this book, and we're going to create a massive movement. Y'all, I didn't meet Kennedy until December. I didn't meet Kennedy until December. I didn't meet Roman until October, November, probably. I interacted with Roman on social media. I didn't meet Roman in person until January. And I met Melinda late last fall. She owns Jaded Designs, doing all the graphics for the book and the project and the marketing and all the things. And y'all, it took until I met all these people. And when I met all these people, missing pieces started to come together, right? I met Kennedy and I was like, oh my gosh, this could become reality. Because in my head, I had been rehearsing this. I had so much intention around how am I going to create this? I don't know. But I met Kennedy. And then I started working with Grain and Grit, and I realized like, oh my gosh, this might not just be daydreaming. I might not just be daydreaming what this could look like. This is my directed thinking, right? I'm visualizing how this is going to look. I'm visualizing who am I going to work with? I'm going to work with people just as insane as me, and I'm going to create this brand. And it took me years to find that and to get in alignment. And until I really got focused on that visualization of what am I trying to create? What does this look like? How does this play out? Then I started to find the people for those positions, right? I found the writer because writing's not my strong suit, and I found Kennedy, and we mesh so well, and our personalities go really well together, and she understands, and she says yes, and she dreams big, and she dreams bigger. And I met Melinda, and Melinda's the same way. And she's that person for me that when I said, this is my marketing plan, she said, why not 14 steps higher? When I said, this is what I'm dreaming up, she said, I have all these ideas to take it to 11. And then I started working with Grain and Grit, and it became this visual side of like, but we could make this into a documentary, and we can connect with people on the road, and we can talk to people about their dreams, and we can do so much more with this massive movement. And it's because of this visualization that I never gave up on. I never stopped saying, I will figure this out. I just don't know how. I will figure this out. And I had visual cues, and I had a vision board. If you don't have a vision board, I highly recommend it. I do one with all of my clients. All of my one-on-one clients have vision boards. It is the background on my phone screen. It's the background on both of my computer screens. It's the background on my iPad. I see this every single day. And a picture of a book has been there for years. A picture of a book has been there for years. And when we can start to say, this is my reality, I'm already doing this, it becomes real life. And you've tricked your brain into thinking it's real life. And so over time, you start to realize that this is actually, you're capable of this, right? And most people fail at visualization. And let's talk about why. Because they only are picturing this outcome and not the process. And for me, the process has become so ingrained in what I'm doing. And yes, the book, right? The book is that overarching visualization. But I've become obsessed with the process. I'm obsessed when we get to have in-person meetings. I'm obsessed when we get to talk on the phone. I'm obsessed when we're on FaceTime. I'm obsessed with creating the process. I'm obsessed with how do I visualize this panning out, right? And how do I get to romanticize the work that's going into these things? And what does this look like? What does this look like? And when we don't attach to that emotion and to those feelings and to that experience, you're gonna not be able to fully visualize it. I can tell you exactly how I feel with this process. I can feel the emotion throughout the whole process. And every time I looked at that picture of that book, I knew that it wasn't just a book. When I visualize writing a book, I visualize a massive movement. I visualize impact for hundreds of thousands of people. How do we impact people with this? And then I found the 4 people, or the 3 people, there's a team of 4 of us right now. There's actually 5 of us, and that's gonna be another reveal soon, but I was able to find these people that attached emotion to my dream, which is super fucking special. Because I had this dream, and I've got people on my team right now that have said, let me make this your dream mine as well, right? And it became this emotion. The book was so much more than pages. The book has become, how do we empower other people? How do we let other people create their dream? How do we give other people permission? It's not permission that you need, but how do we give that? How do we get in rooms with people and make connections and community? A book is so much more than pages. And that's the visualization I've hung on to, is how do we create a massive movement? How do we create a massive movement? And nowhere in my mind with this visualization did we fail, right? Nowhere in my mind is this capable of failing. Because when we talk about failure or flopping of a book or what have you, the process is what we've become so obsessed with. The process is what I'm most excited about. How do we sit in this moment and get really present with people and chase dreams? How fucking cool is that? The book is the outcome. The visualization that I've had for years is this outcome, but how do we create this process that we're obsessed with, right? And when we can get into this emotional state and visualize with the feeling and anchor it in confidence and anchor it in certainty and anchor it in calm, you start to get excited. And instead of looking at this book every single day on my vision board and saying, I don't know how I'll get there, I every day said, I know this will happen. And I know that I'll find the right people that will help me take this to 11. And I know that this won't ever just be a book, it'll be a movement. And I know that this will never just be a book, it'll be a way to connect with people. Because if you know me, you know that community is the number one most important thing in my world. Connecting with people and community moves me. It moves me at a different level. And I knew that this book just couldn't be words on pages. And then I found this emotion with it, right? This certainty, this calm, this excitement. How does this version of me feel? I started realizing and manifesting this visualization of how would I feel in this process? And y'all, it's been emotional. If you've been around any of us through this process, it's been really emotional because it's not just pages. It's not just my story. It's just not my legacy. It's not my parents' legacy. It's not Christina's legacy. It is this emotion of massive movement. And it's how do we connect with people in every city we tour to? How do we impact people in every city we go to? Not just because of a book, because of a movement. And that's what we've always visualized, right? For me, that's where I've always known this would go, which is why it's taken years. But if you don't have the visualization of where you want to go and what you want those feelings to feel like and how you want this to pan out, you're never going to be able to see that thing. If you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. I say this all the time. If you're aiming at nothing, you'll hit it every time. So you have to have a visual of where you're headed. You have to know what that emotion is going to look like to be where you're headed. And visualization is not about getting something. Let me say this again. Visualization is not about getting something. It's about becoming someone. Visualization is not about getting something. It's about becoming someone. Let that sink in for a second, because you have to have an identity shift in this. And for me, the book is that something, right? And if I was only looking at this as the book and at the end, what next, right? Like, this is just a book. No, it's about changing who I am. It's about being who I am. It's about leaning into who I am without permission. And if you start to follow what we're trying to storytell here and how this book is going to unfold, I talk a lot about how I fucking faded for years. And I turned from this vibrant human into this pale gray of what I thought other people should be telling. I did what other people told me to do and what I thought other people wanted me to be. And that is so painful. And it shifted when I decided, when I said I was going to be who I always am, that's where it shifted, right? I started to see myself as the person that was operating at the level with this book. And if your visualizations are really big and you have these dreams that are really, really big and you are not trying to be the person you will be at the end of that thing, you will never succeed. You will never succeed if you do not become the person that you need to be with that biggest dream, right? I have asked this group of people to believe in my dream and to go on tour with me and to take time from their families and their work and their lives and their companies and their businesses and do this dream with me. And we have all had to operate at a different level. We've all had to say, in order to be this version of myself, we have to operate differently. My energy output has to be different. I've missed the podcast the last 2 weeks because I had to operate at a different level to be that next person. And I visualize so clearly who I'll be on that tour. There's so much intention around, if I'm going to spend 3 weeks on the road, in different cities, in different communities, talking to different people, who do I need to show up as? What is that energy I'm going to bring into the room? What is that intention? And I have to start operating at that level now. Because if this is my outcome and this is my visualization, I have to start putting myself in that position right now. And if I'm going to show up for people and say, let's fucking chase dreams, I'm going to show up differently right now, but I've had to make some sacrifices. How do I move my body? How do I visualize how I feel? How am I going to have the energy to show up in this way? And it's had an effect on me, right? And decisions start changing automatically. I didn't go out and say, I'm not going to record a podcast this week. Visually, I started visualizing, how was I going to show up for all these things? And things just started to naturally progress, right? So how do we make this happen? How do you visually start making things like this happen? You have to take time every single day to say, how am I going to make this happen? How do I make this happen? How do I make this happen? And you have to start putting those visuals out there. I am such a believer in those vision boards. Have a vision board. And when you start talking about things, talk about them in present tense. I used to always say, I will have a book one day. And then I changed my wording to, I have a published book. I am a published author. I'm a published speaker. I don't know how we're going to word that yet, but you have to start speaking as if it's already happened. And you have to start pairing this with physical action immediately. Start being that person that's doing that thing. If you want to have this big dream of being in a band, being a photographer, doing the thing, start intentionally making actions that align with being that person already. Don't wait, right? You have to start pitching yourself as if you're already doing it. You have to start launching your business as if you're already doing it. You have to start leading as if you're already doing it. Just sell as if you're already doing it. You have to have the confidence to say you're already doing it. You have to have the boundaries and the habits to say that you're already doing it. People ask me all the time, how do you have the energy to do all these things? Now, I've got a class on that this month on my website, calliewiley.com/floor43, but it's my elevator session. And I talk about energy output. And I've had to lean into being a different person if I'm going to show up with the right energy. And you'll notice that I've pared back on a lot of different networking events, different things, different projects in order to make this happen. It's all about energy output, right? And you have to have those things that are starting to align you with who you want to become. And you have to be able to visualize it. How do I feel as that person? How do I look as that person? How do I dress as that person? Be the person that you want to be in the long term, right? You have to start visualizing what that looks like. So, what are some of the common misconceptions in this? If I visualize it, it'll just happen. Absolutely not. You can put something on your vision board. If you're not taking the actions to do it, it won't happen. If you're not actively taking actions forward, it won't happen. Don't just expect it to happen for you, right? Also, another thing that people always tell me is, well, I need to feel ready. Once I'm ready, once I'm prepared, once I have the education, once I have the permission, stop waiting until you're ready. Just start taking action. Visualize where you're going. Take action towards that. Visualize what you want to be in that moment. Take action towards that. Take action towards that thing, right? Another thing a lot of people say is, well, this is only for elite performers. This is only for people that have cards dealt to them. Y'all, it's all up to you. You're the only person standing in your own way, and you have to start doing it. You have to start doing it. Once you start doing it, things will start rolling for you, right? You have to start doing the thing. You have to start doing the thing. You have to start visualizing who you want to be and taking action towards that. Take the action, right? Take the action. Visualize something that you really want. Start visualizing it. Feel how you would feel if you obtained this thing. Feel how you would feel in the process. Feel how you would feel in the announcements and the little things and the failures and the moments that things don't go right and the pivot points. You have to start leaning in. All right. So this is what we're doing this week. We're visualizing, we're creating vision boards, we're aiming at things, we're speaking in present tense. We're saying, I'm capable of doing the thing. And then we're leaning into becoming that person that will be able to achieve that thing. I appreciate you being here this week. I know that some of this gets a little woo-woo, but I really believe in it. I really believe in that it can change your life. I believe it can change your world. So I want you to go out and do the damn thing this week. Go out and do the damn thing. Share on social media what you're doing. Share on social media what your biggest visualizations are. Start calling it out publicly. Start freaking calling it out publicly. Tag me so I can celebrate you. Tag me so I can share it. And I will see you hopefully next week on the podcast. But this is what we're doing, right? We're doing what we can do in the moment. But have a great day. Like, subscribe, share all the things, and I will see you next week.